For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Pay no attention to the man behind the mask. That's one of my old radiation masks when I had face cancer there and they chewed my face all up. Anyway, I just found it and I thought I'd use it again. Anyway, today I've got a First Amendment auditor that goes to a post office and actually finds crime and corruption, gets the postal guy sent to prison for 40 months for stealing from the post office. It's fantastic. People, finally a First Amendment auditor did something useful. Let's check it out.
Hundreds of checks stolen from the mail at a local post office, and it turns out it was an inside job. This afternoon, we now know the post office supervisor at the center of the crime spree will be going to prison. Senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel was in federal court and explains how long the postal worker will spend behind bars.
I know what you're wondering. Which one of these brave First Amendment auditors that's out there fighting for our rights every day discovered this travesty of justice? Well, let me tell you, not a single one of them. None of them covered this story. Not a single one. I think this was about a year ago when this guy got busted. Never heard a story on it, nothing. Anyway, it was discovered by an auditor for the post office. Went in, did audit the books, and found all the money missing. So, you know, it wasn't really a First Amendment auditor, but it was kind of an auditor. Anyway, let's keep going.
As James Lancaster climbed the stairs to the federal courthouse in downtown Indianapolis, he was hoping a judge would offer leniency for a crime that crippled businesses on the northwest side of Indianapolis. 2 years ago, while Lancaster was the customer service manager at the New Augusta Post Office, he started taking checks right out of the mail.
I've called this meeting because we have a problem. For the last few months, someone has been stealing equipment from the club. Until recently, it's been little things, bases, batting helmets, donuts, but 2 nights ago, they pulled a big one.
Court records show he stole at least 272 checks worth at least $1.7 million from 59 different businesses. Hospitals, utilities, car dealerships, a cancer research center, charities, and other local businesses all suffered significant damage when their checks were stolen from the post office and sold online. The owner of Fine Promotion says his business was impacted for months.
It's hard for anyone to understand what the business interruption is like to shut down your checking account. And plus, we had to change how we were doing business because we could no longer trust the post office.
After 13 investigators reported on the rash of stolen and altered checks, federal investigators quickly focused on Lancaster, who admitted taking the checks and providing them to 2 accomplices in Illinois. Lancaster pled guilty to mail theft and conspiracy to commit bank fraud. Wednesday morning at his sentencing hearing, Lancaster cried as he told a federal judge, "I want everyone to know I am truly sorry for everything that's happened."
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
"I am embarrassed and ashamed of my own actions." His attorney asked the court to not send Lancaster to prison. The judge did not agree. Judge Tanya Walton-Pratt said Mr. Lancaster was in a position of trust at a busy post office, but showed nothing other than greed and disregard of the victims. She told the former postal worker, "It's important that individual victims see justice was served in this case." The judge sentenced Lancaster to serve 40 months behind bars.
Oh my gosh, it should be at least twice that.
40 months. With good time and all that, he'll be out in about a year and a half, I'll bet you, for stealing almost $2 million. Can you imagine that? If you'd went out and robbed a grocery store for $300 or $400, you'd be doing 10 years in prison. It's just ridiculous. White-collar crime. It's nonsense.
Rob Fine believes that penalty is much too lenient.
He knew what he was doing, and he did it 200 times, for God's sakes.
Lancaster will begin serving his sentence within the next several months. He did not want to talk with 13 News after his court hearing, but he did tell me again he's sorry for his crime and that stealing the checks was, in his words, a big mistake. U.S. Attorney Zach Myers sees it differently.
Stealing almost 250 checks from the mail to the tune of almost $2 million, that's not a mistake. That is a series of repeated choices, a persistent pattern of felonious criminal behavior that the defendant chose to engage in every time he stole yet another check. So, I don't think that any argument that this was simply a mistake, has any validity.
This case may be over, but the impact on the U.S. Post Office will likely last much longer. Some of the victims we spoke to say they simply don't trust the post office anymore and will no longer do business there. I'm Bob Siegel, 13 Investigates.
Ain't that some crazy shit, folks? $2 million, gonna get a couple of years in jail. And he doesn't even have to go right away. He can go in a few months down the road when he gets his affairs in order, because criminals get affairs to get in order. If that was you or me, we'd be in jail today. If we did it yesterday, we'd be in jail today. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I hate white-collar crime. It's bullshit. Anyway, let's see if we can find an actual First Amendment auditor that's out there really doing some good, like giving a secretary a hard time or a public employee telling them what a lowlife and piece of crap they are. Because that's what the First Amendment is all about. Let's see what we can find. How about we take a look at a couple of auditors from up in the Alaska area there. Two of them, their names are almost the same because they got no imagination. We got Alaska Audits and we got News Now Alaska. Now they're having a hard time today because nobody seems to want to help them support their cause. They called down here, they called all the big auditors, and nobody will call them back. They're very upset, and then they make excuses for the other auditors not calling them back. It's a sad, pathetic, it's just sad and pathetic. Anyway, let's check it out.
Okay, Brandon with News Now Alaska. So, who have you contacted down in the lower 48 about your arrests?
Long Island Audit, Lackluster, Audit the Audit, San Joaquin Valley Transparency, J-Town Press, Delete Laws, plus probably a half a dozen more.
So you're basically Gandalf.
On my own.
So you're basically Gandalf, and you lit the fires for Rohan to come?
Yeah.
And is anyone coming?
Nope.
Absolutely nobody?
Nope.
Nobody's contacted you back?
Nope.
Why?
I don't know.
I think that they're all too busy with the cops in the lower 48.
I think the law enforcement in America has basically started a war with First Amendment auditors. With the First Amendment is under attack in America.
I think so.
Or it could be that they're too self-absorbed in their own self-importance that they don't have time to talk to a little peon like you. Besides, you're quite boring. You're both boring. Neither one of you are very bright. You don't do anything useful. You haven't solved any crimes. You haven't done anything. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Short one for today. Monday, gotta get off to a rough start here. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all be good now. Love ya. Bye.